So today's plan was I was going to continue working on the Cadillac, but I got some new parts showed up in the mail, and I have parts all over the garage, and it's basically everything is turned into a shelf for every project. So I'm instead going to jump back on the small block, and I'd like to get the balancer pulled today. I want the timing cover off, and I'll jump right into it. And I happen to find AFRs. Pretty much blew my whole budget on these heads. These are the Enforcer 195cc runners. It's got the standard 202 intake or 2.02 intake and 1.6 exhaust, so they should breathe really good. All right, so I just got the timing cover off, and it's a double roller chain, but somebody cared about this at some point, but it's been quite a while since somebody cared about it, so I guess that's time for a timing chain now. All right, I've got the timing chain off, and I have a bolt threaded into the cam. I'm gonna get ready to pull the cam out. This stuff is really goopy. When I say this is the level of stupidity I have to do to get things to work in this garage, this is the level of stupidity. Or is it genius? The puller's a little oversized for what I'm doing, but I'm not buying another puller. So I'm just going to wing it with a zip tie and see what I can't make happen. And it's working. Sometimes I actually know what I'm doing. Sometimes, not all the time, because if I knew what I was doing all the time, people would expect that of me all the time. And that's just not the case. I really don't know what I'm doing ever, which is why I have zip ties holding my puller together right now. But that's one old, worn out crank timing gear off. All right, so I have the old timing gear off of the crank. I'm gonna put the new one on. I'm running a Cloyes, I don't know. It's a Cloyes double roller for a small block Chevy. It's not adjustable. The downside is I don't have a press, and I'm not pulling the crank out of the engine to put this on. So I'm just gonna use the good old hammer. And I also don't have a socket deep enough or large enough at home. I have it at my shop where I work, but not here. I'm not driving back to work. So, soup can. I'm gonna see how strong a soup can is. First, I'm gonna get this started. I could probably use a little bit of oil. Oh, don't use that end. It's started. Let's do a science experiment, shall we? I'll be damned. You can use a soup can to drive on a timing gear in a small block Chevy. It's almost there too. Now, our can is taking some damage. Who would have thought? But I have an idea to ensure the livelihood of this can. Not that I'm worried about it. I'm more worried about my fingers, honestly. Okay. That may be the limit for our soup can. When in doubt, fake wood works. Sometimes I love how stupidly smart I am. I really do. I mean, it's throwing plastic, I guess, fake wood shadings all over the front crank bearing, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a newly installed, whatever the hell that is, crank timing gear. Who says you need expensive tools? I've never been into an engine mechanically other than intakes or head gaskets, that kind of thing. Long-winded story. Dot goes on the bottom. That's all I know. The other thing is to match up, use your bolt wherever my bolt got to, and wherever my other dot is, you're going to spin the cam to match that dot. So there's your dot. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I'll zoom it in. There's the 0 mark on my crank gear. So I'm making sure dowel is set where the cam needs to be, dot to dot. I'm gonna pull that back off. I'm gonna set my new cam, I'm gonna set my new chain onto this. So basically all I need to do is come around here, make sure I get it on the right tooth. And pop it in place. Just like that. Now I am going to use a little bit of thread locker on here. It would be helpful if you open the bottle. Just going to use a dab of red thread locker. Okay, or it'll shoot all over my driveway. That's fine. Let it run down the threads. Bye-bye, buddy. Okay, let's go for the next one. Oh, that's way too much. I'll never get this bolt out. Oh, it's a good thing I'm using the high strength stuff. So when I do decide that I want a bigger cam, or more fun, when I realized that this has wiped a cam lobe because I don't remember the order of the lifters, and this is a used cam. I'm gonna put the lifters in anyway. Now make sure you use proper torque sequence on your 3 bolts. It's a triangle. I went to college. It says 25 to 30 foot-pounds on the internet. Again, I'm learning everything from the internet. It says 25 foot-pounds. So I'm just gonna make it ish 25 foot-pounds. Okay. Okay. I heard the click. Did you guys hear the click? I heard the click. All right, that's done. I can clean these surfaces up, throw my timing cover back on it, which I actually painted last night. With this bolted down, this is much nicer than that old chain. Still a little bit, but I honestly don't know how much tension these are supposed to have, but that's still better than what was there. So I got a Felpro timing cover set of gaskets. Hopefully I didn't just cut into one of them. Knowing my luck, I did. Anyway, I'm going to put these on, put these gaskets on, put the timing cover on with a little bit of Permatex. I like using a little bit of the Permatex blue. I know that's a lot of... Wow. Look at how they packaged this gasket. Okay, Permatex it is. That's pathetic. Like, it's already been frayed. Nice things, think nice things, think nice things. Who in their right mind would use this gasket? No, seriously though, that's... The fact that this came out of the box looking like that, that was pathetic. But, that's all I got. Would you look at that? I bought a seal. Kit came with a seal. If only I had opened this. Oh, look at that. It even comes with silicone. Man, I should really read what I look at first. It has instructions. Wow. I'm not going to use those. Alright, I've got the gasket laid in there. So, I'm going to now throw a light coat on top of the gasket as the bottom layer starts to set up. I'll throw a little bit on the top, and we'll go from there. Yeah, I've got one coat of paint on the oil pan, and I'm gonna get ready to actually spin this thing over so that I can drop my lifters in. Alrighty, so the next hurdle I'm facing is these lifters. You can see on the box, you know, I got these used. Rear is that way, passengers this way, left or right is this way, left is that way. Problem was, when I opened this box, that was all over the place. I had no idea. You know, I kind of just tipped them up where I thought they were, but I also don't know if this is this cylinder 1, and you know, that is intake and exhaust, or is this cylinder one and that's intake and exhaust, or vice versa? Is that, I don't know. I just don't know. So I'm just gonna take a gamble since this is a flat tappet cam, and you know it's really important to put the lifters where they wore in properly. I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in because I don't really have another choice other than buying an entirely different cam. So I'm just gonna send it. So this should be dirty. It's dirty. I don't know. I'm overthinking it, but I'm gonna drop that in some. I'm gonna drop both of these. Not physically drop them. I'm gonna drop them in some oil. I mean, I don't know what else to do here. I'm just like a fart in the wind. I don't really know what else to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, and then you guys will see the disaster unfold. Alrighty, all of the mystery lifters are installed, and I give this about 30 seconds of runtime before something catastrophic happens. But, oh well, we will find out, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm using to mount these heads is a set of bolts that actually came with the block. And they just so happen to be already mounted. Yeah, I'm using the original bolts. I just wire wheeled them, and they're going in. Alright, so in a turn of events that surprises no one, I actually had to file down the edge of this head alignment dowel, if my camera will focus, because at some point in its life, it was burred up, and, you know, of course I didn't check that. The front one's fine. Of course I didn't check that before I went to gently put my head on, and yeah, I'm very happy with myself. So I'm just gonna have to hope the head gasket will, you know, make up for that. But I'm very aggravated with myself that I let that happen. But it's not too bad. You can just feel it with your fingernail barely. Alrighty, so I've got all my bolts ready to go, all my washers. I'm gonna use some Permatex Blue because that's just what I'm gonna use. And I'm gonna do the proper torque sequence. I think it starts at 40, then goes up by 10 until I hit 75. I think that's what the AFR heads call for. Alrighty, I've gone through and did 40, 50, and 60 foot-pounds going around the cycle. I'm gonna torque down this last set at 75 foot-pounds according to AFR's website, and I'll go from there. So guys, after a lot of research on AFR's website, I have realized I can't use the stock push rods because they are not hardened or chromoly. And the rod guides, AFR calls for hardened push rods. So that kind of blows. I can't assemble this tonight. But another downside is I also can't use the stock rockers, considering I was trying to do it on a budget. But considering what heads I'm looking at right now, the whole budget idea has kind of pretty much gone out the window. So in the meantime, I'm going to be looking for some used setup on Facebook because I'm still with the budget idea, and we're gonna go from there. All right, so I've got all the rockers kind of makeshift on there just so the lifters didn't fall out, but I'm getting ready to put the pan on. I already have the gasket on there and gooped up, and I made sure to put plenty on the ends. Make sure my gasket is in place. All right, it's kind of there. When I bought the engine, I didn't have oil pan bolts, so I bought some online on Summit or Jag's Engine Works. I don't know. I'm not in too big a rush because I just put all of that sealant down. I just don't want to lift the pan back up now that I have gooped it. Goop is a funny word, gooped it. I'd like to start right dead smack in the center, simply because, well, it's easy. Okay, that one started. Let's do one on this side. Okay. All the way around. Come on, buddy. I'm under attack from the acorns. Alrighty guys, last thing I'm doing for the night, oil pan dipstick. I had to go and get another one, different one. Apparently I didn't know there were 2 styles for General Motors. I've never worked with small blocks before, so you learn something new every day. But new dipsticks in, I just permatexed it in place. That should be fine. It'll probably look like crap, but it should be fine. Other thing is I started taping off, getting ready for wire wheeling and paint tomorrow. I'm gonna have to get some core plugs. I don't like the way that one looks. That one looks, it was new at one point, but I guess everything was. So all of this is just placeholder, all these rockers. I'm gonna get all new push rods. Well, not all new, but new to me, push rods and rocker arms, hopefully roller tip. As I mentioned, it is a budget, so I'm buying them through Facebook Marketplace instead of buying them new. So we'll see how they work out. But other than that, I'm going to call it for this video. Stay tuned for part 3 of this small block Chevy rebuild. Thank you guys for watching.